Now, the very interesting topic is identifying the elements on Android. So far, we talked about what are the elements on a screen, such as buttons, radio button, checkbox, text field, etc. And we also talked about what are the different locators can be used to identify the elements. Now we are actually trying to locate the elements using some of the tools available. So in Android, the major tools which are used for identifying the elements are two. One is UI Automator Viewer and Chrome Adb Plugin. Now let's discuss when to use what. The tool UI Automator Viewer is from Android SDK. It is from Android platform. You don't require to install any new software. It will be available as part of the Android SDK, that is Android platform. Using this tool, using this UI Automator Viewer tool, you can able to identify the elements of native application. You can able to identify any element of native application, Android native application. And we already talked about what is native application. A native application is nothing but which uses Android native libraries to implement the application. The application developer uses the complete Android libraries to develop the Android application. Such kind of applications we call it as native applications. For example, calculator, clock, settings. Okay, or all those applications are used native libraries to build up such kind of application. And the other one is Chrome Adb Plugin. It is a plugin for the Chrome browser. You need to install a Chrome plugin called Adb. Once installed, you can able to identify the elements of a web application that is opened on the mobile browser. You can able to identify the elements of a web application that is opened on the mobile browser. So remember that I'm saying opened on the mobile browser. Okay, so let's talk about let's do some practical examples on UI Automator Viewer as well as Chrome Adb plugin. If you want to open the UI Automator Viewer, take your command prompt or terminal. Just type UI Automator Viewer. UI Automator Viewer. Just type and press enter. A tool will be opened like this. UI Automator Viewer tool will be opened like this. So by default, it will be empty. You don't see anything there. So click on this button. This is called device screenshot button. Click on this button. It will take some time to load the device screen. Okay, it will be opened like this. Now click on any of the element, okay, any of the web element. For example, click on 8. You can see when you click on 8, you can see on the right hand side it will display all the information of element 8. Okay, resource ID. So it's nothing but ID locator. Class is nothing but class name locator. You can see it here. Name, ID, class name. And content description is nothing but accessibility ID. So for now, there is no content description for the element 8. And text is nothing but name. And yes, these are the locators we are having. Okay, one is text, that is nothing but name locator. Resource ID, that is nothing but ID locator. Class, that is nothing but class name. And content description, that is nothing but accessibility ID. So these are the 4 locators we are having for the element 8. So if you want to find out the element information of plus element, so the name locator is plus, and resource ID, whose value is com.android.calculator2:id/op_ad, and class name. And we also have content description. The content description value is plus. Okay, so that is nothing but accessibility ID. You can able to identify the element by using the accessibility ID, that is plus. So like that, you can use UI Automator Viewer to identify the locators. And these locators in turn will help you to identify the element, will help you to fetch the element. And once you fetch the element in the form of web element, you can able to perform any operation. That is about using the UI Automator Viewer. So this particular tool will be very much useful when you are designing your automation scripts. You need to click on an element. To click on an element, you need to identify the element. To identify the element, you need to use a locator and its value. Okay, and you get those information by using this tool. Okay, so that's about UI Automator Viewer. Now let's talk about Chrome Adb plugin, which is used for identifying the elements of a web application on the mobile browser. So you can see that there is a small icon. Okay, it's nothing but Adb plugin, which is available in my Chrome browser. By default, it will not be available. You need to install the Adb plugin. I'll show you how to install it. Type Chrome Adb plugin. Okay, you can see that Adb Chrome Web Storage. Just click on this one. And once you see that, you can click on Add to Chrome. You can click on Add to Chrome. Add to Chrome. So for me, it shows as added to Chrome. It is nothing but it is already added to Chrome. So in your case, it might show that Add to Chrome. Okay, click on this button and follow the instruction and choose the default options and restart your browser, restart your Chrome browser, and you can able to see Adb plugin here. Okay, so once you install, click on this Adb plugin and you get couple of options: view, inspection, target, help, and file a ticket. File a ticket is nothing but if you find a bug in the Adb plugin, you can raise a bug. Okay, so we are not going to test the Adb, so we are going to use it. So let's click on view, inspection, target. So by default, it will be shown something like this. Okay, so before you click on inspect, let's open the browser. Let's open the browser, because you know that Adb plugin is used to identify the or locate the elements on the browser. on an application that is open on the browser, right? Just wait for a moment. So by default, the home page looks like google.com. You can open any application that you wanted to open. So by default, it opened google.com. You can open gmail.com or facebook.com. So whatever it is. So let's wait for some time to finish the loading. Now it looks like it is finished loading. Then you can click on inspect. So there are two tabs. One is untitled. In the Chrome browser itself, it looks like there are two tabs opened. One is untitled, which we are not interested. The other one is Google, right? Let's click on inspect. Choose the Google. Click on inspect. There is a link. You just need to click on the inspect. It is something very similar to identifying the web elements in Selenium using Firepath or Firebug. Okay, so those who worked on Selenium and those who worked on Firebug, they might be much more aware of this one. But if you are not worked on, that's okay, not an issue. So when you click on the inspect, it will be shown something like this. Okay, so there are students comes to me and says that Sudhir, I don't see this particular screen. I don't see this particular screen. Okay, so in case if you don't see this screen, that is google.com screen, you can here you can see there is a screenshot icon. Okay, if you click on, it will open. Okay, so just click on this one until it opens. Now it is open, right? So this button is called disable screenshot or enable screenshot. Now it is disabled. Now we can switch to portrait screenshot. Okay, so just click on that button, it will display the screen. Now what you need to do is, let's say you wanted to find out this text field, you wanted to identify this particular text field, and you wanted to enter some text on this particular text field. Okay, so before you enter, first you need to identify the text field. So let's see how you can able to identify the text field using one of the locator that we have. So you cannot directly perform any operation here. Okay, so everything should be from here. So let's click this one. When you say body, it is selected everything. So you need to narrow down your search. Make sure you need to narrow down your search. So my objective is to identify the text field. So let's find out, let's focus only on text field. So if you select header, the header part is selected. I'm not interested on headers. So if you select div, if you see ID underscore Q5, okay, so the entire thing is selected. Okay, something interesting. If I select footer, the bottom part is selecting. I'm not interested in the footer. So let's go to this one. Sorry, not this one. Q5, right? So go inside the Q file, and it is selected Google icon. Okay, Google image. I'm not interested on the Google image. Let's come to here main. So if you select main, it is selected text field and couple of other links. Okay, let's go inside this one. Okay, and if you select div style margin 8px, it is selected this one. If you select div id promo, it is selected bottom of the text field. I'm not interested in this. Let's go inside div style equal to margin. Okay, and then it is selected the form. Let's go inside. So this is something interesting. Let's go inside. Again. So now you can see, if I select div, nothing is selected. If I select input, something is selected. If I select div this div, it is selected at the right hand side, some corner portion it is selected. I'm not interested in that. Let's go inside the input. And input is nothing but every text field is an input, right? So this is something promising to me. So now try to look at what are the different locators that you can use. Okay, so we have 9 locators. One of the locators is tag name, that is input, and we have a class name locator and id locator and name locator, and that's it. Okay, we have id, name, tag name, class name. So if you take the tag name, you are going to get multiple elements. So in your screen with tag name, you can find out multiple elements. So better not to go with any tag name. And if you take class, again multiple elements can have the same class name. So don't go with the class name also. So if you have id, go with the id. And if you don't have the id, the next option is name. Okay, so as id is having, I would like to go with id, that is lst-ib. So that's how you need to identify the desired element, and you need to look at the locators what you can use it. So that is how you are going to identify the elements on a web application that is opened on the Android browser. That could be either default browser or Chrome browser that is installed on the Android device. So these are the 2 ways which can be used to identify the elements of an Android application. That could be the native or web. Now you might have a question that how can I identify elements on a hybrid application? So what I talked about hybrid application, and a hybrid application is nothing but it's a combination of native and web. So if it is a native, you can use UI Automator, and in the hybrid application, if you see any web pages, you can use Chrome Adb Plugin. So you can combine these two tools to identify any element on the hybrid application. So that's about identifying elements on the Android device.